What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Hi, damn. We got so much to talk about today. Hi, damn. Oh, man. Who knew? Who knew? Big Stew, Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart himself. Big Daddy Kane. Who knew he was a bucket? Who knew? Who knew Charles Oakley was a bucket this whole time? I'm joking. I'm joking. But seriously, though, the man went to work. The man saw Nikola Vucevic and saw a snack. He saw barbecue chicken. He saw a couple of sides with an hors d'oeuvre, a bread roll, a biscuit, some cornbread to sop up, some collard green gravy. He saw absolutely everything he wanted. Everything he wanted. He got to the Thanksgiving table and was like, "Yep, just about everything I wanted." He got to the cookout and saw a spread. Might as well have been his birthday. Might as well have been his birthday. Because Isaiah Stewart came out in this game. In this game, whew, he was beyond a man on a mission. I mean, he came to do damage. He went right into Nikola Vucevic's chest. And we got to talk about all of that in this video. We will. We will. But before I do, as always, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. And if you're not already, become a member in 2026. Remember, smashing the like button is a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. It really is. So I appreciate all the love and support. This is a dope community. If you haven't been here before, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to get into it. The reality is the Detroit Pistons are rolling. Our 28th win of the season. #1 seed in the East. Second best record in the NBA. And with all the deficits and areas of growth and improvement that I've pointed out over the years, oh my goodness, we continue to roll. Detroit basketball, Pistons culture has outlasted all of this. All the growing pains, all the areas of improvement. We absolutely have shown that we have something special. We have something special. We have something cooking that nobody else has. We got spices and flavors. We got sauce that nobody else has. We have a little bit of something extra that we do that nobody else does. We got the spicy chicken recipe and nobody else has spicy yet. Right? That's what we got. We have that something extra. I'm still trying to put a full finger on it because there's no way a team that is this bad in transition defense, consistently boxing out, communicating on the backside, consistently making the rotations, should be this good on defense. There's no way a team that struggles this much in half-court scoring offense and shooting and knocking down threes should be this effective offensively. We have something. There's something there. There's something that we are doing that the NBA is just not ready for. We got the juice, apparently. We got the juice. We got that little bit of something. We got that something that just changes the whole flavoring. Right? We got that sprinkle of something. We're going to dive into all that in this video. Shout out to the chat coming through. We got Real Estate Page. He says, me and my son was at the game. We left at halftime to beat traffic. I knew we was going to smack them, but we were tied or down by 4 when we left. Hey, Real Estate Page, I've learned that lesson too many times, bro. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth having to be the one who goes, I was almost at that game. I almost saw that second half. I almost, but not enough. Not quite. Not quite. Hang on one second. I'm going to adjust this real quick. Let's see if this helps. This. And do a little adjustment here. You got to make adjustments sometimes. You got to make adjustments sometimes. I like it a little bit more level. Trying to get the whole station set up better. But we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. Appreciate your patience. Appreciate your patience. All right, here we go. Here we go. One more time. We'll lift it up one more time. All right, we back. Oh, that's better. That feels better. That feels better. Trying to get this. When you move stuff around, stuff gets moved around. You don't necessarily have things the way you normally have it, and then you got to figure it out. That's what's happening. Look, let me just say this. Let me just say this. Shout out to Isaiah Stewart. There really is no other way to put it. 31 points. Um, when you have games like this, you create a different expectation. You create a different perception of yourself. The league has to begin to look at you differently. The league has to begin to observe how you're showing up, how you're playing differently. This is when you start to get the calls. The calls that you weren't getting before, this is when you start to get it. Now I'm going to get into all the other aspects of this game, but this is a really big moment for Isaiah Stewart. Please don't let's not overlook it. It's easy to be like, oh, he had a great game and just keep it pushing. It's like, no, 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 no. Slow down, slow down, slow down. He had 31 points. Isaiah Stewart shot 14 of 17, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Isaiah Stewart, I've said for a while, has far more in his bag than we've seen. And I'm not saying that to say like he's all of a sudden James Harden. That's not who he is. But I'm saying that the aggressiveness that we have seen from him offensively throughout the course of this season, even last year, right? Last year, towards the end of the season, had that move on Evan Mobley. I think he made him fall down, right? Like caught the ball, pump faked it, went one way, then put it behind his back, and then took it with the left hand lay. Evan Mobley fell down, right? Like those things weren't accidental. That wasn't a fluke. That wasn't like oh, this is just a moment where this guy got away with the move. No, Isaiah Stewart has been working on his game. And that's one thing that I love about this team. I love about this roster. I love about this collection of talents. One thing I love about them is that they are continuously on an ongoing basis getting better. And not just getting better, but they're pushing themselves to perform at higher and higher levels. When you look at the development and the ascension of Isaiah Stewart's game, you begin to see a player who has developed the ability to play on the court in just about any position that you need him. If I need you on the perimeter, I can shoot threes. If I need to play on the interior, I can post up and finish with both hands. If you need me to be more aggressive offensively, I can do that. Cade is out. I got you. We need someone to set the tone. I don't think it was an accident that JB Bickerstaff, the very first play of the game, was a pick and roll between Jaden Ivey and Isaiah Stewart, where he gets the ball and finishes with his left hand over Nikola Vucevic. That was not accidental. That was 100% on purpose. That was 100% what JB Bickerstaff was trying to get to, was trying to activate. And this is why I don't know if you saw my post. If you haven't seen my post, probably because you haven't hit the bell yet to get the notifications. But I had a post this morning where I asked who was the hero of yesterday's game. And one of the individuals that I threw out there was JB Bickerstaff. His rotations, his pressing of buttons. We saw he was searching for something. And I'm going to get to Jaden Ivey because we got to talk about that, about what we saw from Jaden Ivey. But it's to say that he understood the temperament and the temperature of his team. He understood the temperament, right? Who's up, who's down, who's ready to go, who's got it tonight, and the temperature. Who has it going? He's not one of those coaches that he takes a guy out and then you sit there as a fan and being like, hey, where's this guy? I haven't seen this guy. Oh, BD Busters. Yes, I'm going to get to Chaz Anir. I'm going to get to Chaz Anir. Abdullah. Yep, I'm going to get to Jaden Ivey. I'm going to get to all of them. I'm going to get to all of them. Maybe not all of them, but I'm gonna get to them because this game was so exemplary of what Detroit basketball is all about. Guys who play for one another, who play together, who believe in themselves, who believe in one another, who play for the collective team effort. And when one guy doesn't have it, somebody always steps up. So Steven's Machines Room. Haven't seen you before, but yo, it's good to see you in the chat. It's good to see you in the chat. Big at you. What's good? One of my members, OG from the beginning. Ray Floyd. What's good? One of my members. Salute, 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 salute. Yo, let me get to some of these comments, and then I'm going to dive into what I saw throughout this game. Mr. Tony J. If we start beef stew, it means more minutes available for Paul Reed. I've talked about that before. It's also a good thing. We need all our defenders in the rotation. I completely agree. Completely agree. Isaiah Stewart's ability to lock up on the perimeter as well. I don't know if y'all noticed. I think it was in the second half. Isaiah Stewart got switched onto Trey Jones, the Chicago Bulls starting point guard. Not saying he's necessarily a starting level point guard, but he was the starter for the night. And Beef Stew absolutely locked him up. Absolutely put the shackles on him. Absolutely was able to contain him and eventually block his shot. Trey Jones tried to attack him baseline. Beef Stew cut him off. He pulled it out. Went back out to the three-point line, which is supposed to be where he has an advantage. Stew maintained enough proximity to challenge his shot and prevent Trey Jones from even considering taking a three. And then when Trey Jones tried to drive to the basket, he moved his feet. He slid laterally. Didn't bail him out with a reach-in foul. Maintained his verticality, right? Chest up, shoulders back, hands up. Dropping his waist, sliding his feet, opening up his hips, doing all the little things that allow you to be effective as a defender. Not jumping and hopping, but stepping and sliding his feet quickly. Cut him off, shot attempt, block shot. That's why he can play power forward for the Detroit Pistons. On top of the fact that he can also shoot threes. Shot 2 of 3 on the night. And I've been his biggest fan for him to shoot threes and saying he needs to shoot more. I want more. I want more threes from Isaiah Stewart. I want more threes from Isaiah Stewart. Just period. Period. That's how good I believe he is. That's how good at shooting threes he is. Now let me get to the rest of this roster. Asar Thompson, 5 of 11, had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers. It was a +3 on the night. Asar Thompson, I was a little disappointed in. He looked like he was pressing, but I know I can understand why he's pressing. Somebody had to step up. And when you're a starter, you're supposed to believe that you can fill in that role. You're supposed to play that way. You're supposed to. And even him losing his footing, I've said this many times before, that the brain learns more through failure than it does through success. Remember that. Learns more through failure. So sometimes our failures are the source of our greatest lessons. Asar Thompson is learning like a motherfucker, boy. That boy is learning. That boy is learning. Ooh, he's learning a whole lot. Because that boy, oh my God, he looking like Bambi out there. Oh, D-Boy 7012. Welcome to the homie subscription. Just became a new member. Shout out to you in 2026. Becoming a member. 28 people in the chat too. Only 5 likes. Yo, help a brother out. Remember, it's a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. Smash the like button, please. I really appreciate it. Really do. Asar Thompson was pressing. And he was failing. He was struggling. Lost his footing several times. Tried to bully Matas Buzelis. Matas Buzelis just moved his feet. This is a growth moment. Matas Buzelis is an elite level athlete. Even for the NBA, he's an elite level athlete. He's like Gordon Hayward in Utah level athlete. I mean, you saw it. Asar Thompson lost track of him to begin the third quarter, uh, and they threw the lob to him. I think it was Trey Jones threw the lob, backdoor. His head was above the rim. It was like here. The rim was here. And Manas Buzelis caught that thing and yammed it. If you're going to try to bully someone with your athleticism, you want to make sure that you're bullying somebody who's either smaller or less athletic. Or you have to take an angle to be able to get them off balance. He didn't do either. He didn't do any of those. And he got his shot ate up 2-3 times. Fell to the ground, turned it over a couple times. And it was kind of like, okay, you need to readjust. But this is what I will give Asar Thompson, is that he actually adjusted. Almost like Bud Crawford in a fight. All right. He adjusted. He pivoted. He figured out what he needed to do to be effective in this game. And that was not be as aggressive offensively in the same way. Maybe in transition, moving off the ball, backdoor cuts, offensive rebounds. But in terms of taking on his head-to-head matchup, that wasn't working for him. He even what was funny was I'm gonna be honest with you. Yo, just hold this for a moment. I think he mixed up his white guys because he attacked Manas Buzelis and Manas Buzelis was eating him up. And then he attacked what's his name? He attacked Kevin Herter. And Kevin Herter actually got knocked backwards and was in no position to challenge his shot. And Asar Thompson is 3 feet in front of the basket and actually never even attempts to shoot the basketball. And this is a recognition thing. This is a how do you intentionally attack your defense? This speaks to IQ, feel, repetition, that builds this experiential muscle. I got Kevin Herter. I can bully him. I can get past him athletically, physically, length. I have all the advantages. Manas Buzelis, not so much. Isaac Okoro, not so much. Trey Jones, hell yes. Aldasumu, not so much. Olbrich, yes. Terry, yes. Patrick Williams, Julian Phillips, maybe Phillips. Patrick Williams, no. These are all things that you have to be able to acknowledge as you're facing somebody so you can adjust your strategy. But these are things that Asar Thompson is learning. Like I said, you learn more through failure than success. And that boy is learning. That boy is, he getting a degree and needing to step his game up. But kudos to him for making the adjustment. He didn't stop being aggressive. He didn't just disappear and float and fall to the wayside. He absolutely, positively stayed engaged in this game. And we needed it. 28 minutes, almost 29 minutes. 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Shout out to his defense. We needed every bit of it. Now let's get to Paul Reed. B-Ball Paul. B-Ball Paul, God, I love this player. Another reason why we need to start Isaiah Stewart, because we need more minutes for B-Ball Paul. Tobias Harris, he can come off the bench alongside B-Ball. I think that'll actually help out our bench unit even more, because we're going to have a go-to scorer that can eat against bench units. And it's an inevitable position that I think Tobias Harris is going to be in for the remainder of his career, coming off the bench. I don't think he's a starting level power forward for a team that is trying to win a championship any longer. I think he can in spurts against certain matchups. I think he can hold his own. But he's no longer the guy that you really want to depend upon to give 30-plus minutes. I'd rather have him splitting those minutes with Isaiah Stewart. Right? I would rather have Duren at center playing 30 minutes, Stu playing 30 minutes, and then break up the rest between Paul Reed and Tobias Harris. Paul Reed is just a consummate professional. He is the consummate professional B-ball, he's a real hooper. He loves the game. He studies the game. It's very clear. It's very clear. I mentioned it yesterday, but I've been following B-ball Paul since he got drafted to the 76ers. I really liked his game in college at DePaul. And watching him grow and develop as a player, it was really interesting because he played like almost like a mini Giannis at DePaul. He was out in transition with the ball in his hands, being asked to create, asked to get downhill, get to the rim, finish, overpower, use his athleticism, and really be a focal point of that team's offense, uh, the offensive engine in a lot of ways. Um, he had a huge role. And then he gets drafted to Philadelphia, who has prime Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons when we still liked him, because there was a time we liked him, right? Let's be honest. There was a time when all of us were singing his praises, all defensive team, multiple time All Star, uh, one of the best point guards in the game at the time. And then they had James Harden. And they looked at B-ball Paul and they said, for you to get playing time, you're going to have to change your game. You're going to have to learn how to fit. And all of a sudden, he was in the G League and he had to develop and he had to develop and develop. Eventually, he would go on. I think he won G League MVP, had a great run in the G League, and then was brought up to the main team. And he just continuously, perpetually proved why he needed more and more minutes, similar to the way that he's doing for the Detroit Pistons. He just consistently performed over and over and over, got to the loose balls, uh, got the rebounds out of his area, got the 50-50 balls where it's one other guy chasing and him chasing, and he just wanted it more, right? Took the charges, got the weak side block shot, got the deflection on the pass, was able to help and recover, dug down as a help defender, one pass away, was able to knock the ball loose, right? He was disruptive. Then he got out in transition. He sprinted the court, right? Provided energy to a team that had a lot of guys who didn't always play with a lot of energy. He developed this game that we're seeing today that looks so fine-tuned. He developed it. And at the same time, let me pull it up here. He's only 20. Let me make sure I get this right. Hold on. Hold on. Let me pull it up. I want to say he's only 26 years old. I want to say he's only 26 years old. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up right now. Because the reason why that is so important, the reason why that is so important is because it speaks to his long-term outlook for this team. Paul Reed is 26 years old, has a $5 million non-guaranteed contract for next year. We're going to get into some of the roster construction and long-term outlook potentially of this team towards the end of this video, along with the Trae Young trade to the Washington Wizards. We got to talk about that. That is going to change the league. It is going to change the NBA. Period. But let's talk about this. B-ball Paul is showing that he can play power forward or center. The reality was in college, he probably played more of just forward, meaning small forward and power forward. That's how athletic he is. That's how skilled he was. And we're seeing it more and more as he grabs rebounds and brings it up the court. As he shows off a little bit of his handle in traffic to be able to navigate multiple defenders around him comfortably and make the right read, a good pass, and the ability to get the assist. Right? These are all things that B-ball Paul has been doing, but all of a sudden now he's doing it in the starting lineup. 9 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 0 turnovers in 26 minutes. Now, I do have to say, super impressed with JB Bickerstaff because he had to make an adjustment. Even though they started B-ball Paul, he likes continuity. He likes consistency. Rashad Walker. I just said that. How old is B-Ball Paul? He's 26 years old. He started Paul Reed with Isaiah Stewart. Here's the thing. That was a bad matchup for us. That was a bad lineup for the Chicago Bulls. I think it was a major reason why Modest Buzelis was able to get off. Well, I'm just glad you made it here, Rashad Walker, in the chat. I'm just glad you made it. Real talk. Here's the thing. JB Bickerstaff noticed that Modest Buzelis was far too athletic for Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed. So what he did was he adjusted the lineup. He probably had this plan to some extent already, knowing that we don't have the most depth at the center position. I am glad that he got Tolu Smith at least a minute or two. You know, he got a rebound, got a foul, um, you know, got himself a turnover. Uh, but as to say, I think he might have had Tolu Smith in the plans. But I think he might have been a good matchup for Ulbrich. Uh, but very quickly he was like, no. Because Modest Buzelis' speed getting out in transition, his ability to move off the ball, attack off the dribble, and shoot the ball. I think it was just too much. Modest Buzelis is a legit 6'10". Probably has somewhere around a 7'2" wingspan. And he can handle the rock. And he's explosive with a good first step. He's very Jalen Johnson-esque. That was not a matchup for us, for B-Ball Paul and Isaiah Stewart. So when they pivoted and made that adjustment, what it allowed the Pistons to do was to get the matchup that we were really looking for, which was Asar Thompson on him. And the moment we put Asar Thompson on him, all of a sudden you saw that got clamped up. That was a big shift in the second half. Asar Thompson cut the water off on Modest Buzelis. Outside of that lob, it's like, nope. If Modest Buzelis wasn't getting a wide open three because someone else had blown the rotation and Asar wasn't on him, if Asar was on him, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. And that speaks to some of the magic of this team. We have that guy. We have that guy. We have the guy you could just go, he's got it. Oh, that guy's scoring too much? Asar, you got him. Go ahead. Do what you do. And then when you have Beef Stew behind him, it just only reinforces. Guys don't want to attack. Can you imagine if Asar Thompson is guarding you and then you get past him and Beef Stew is just sitting there licking his lips and just like, I got you. Come on, please, please, please shoot this ball. Bring it in. Please, please. Just begging for another block shot. And I do have to give kudos to the Chicago Bulls. They actually did a great job of finishing on the interior, especially in the first half. I mean, they had perfected getting that ball high off the glass. Trey Jones, Ayo Dosunmu, they were using all the angles of that backboard to avoid Beef Stew. All the angles. Side note, speaking of all the angles, y'all got 40 people in the chat and only 11 likes. Come on, y'all. Help a brother out. Yo, I really appreciate it. Remember, it's a small thing for you. Just tap that like button. Just tap, tap. Well, don't tap it twice because then it'll turn it off. So tap and like. All right. It's a big thing for the channel. It really is. So it's a small thing that you can do to support the channel. Also, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications if you haven't already. And consider in 2026 becoming a member. Why not? If you rock with this community, I rock with it. I have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in the chat. I know y'all chopping it up and having a great conversation in the chat. Please consider becoming a member. I appreciate everybody here. Real talk. Let's just say we have that special sauce, which really is the pedigree of our players. And when I say the pedigree of our players, I'm talking about we have some immense, incredible talents on this team. They haven't fine-tuned all the kinks and dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. They haven't. I'm going to get into how atrocious our transition defense was. How many times are we going to allow someone to get behind us? How many times in that first half did Ayo Dosunmu get wide open layups in transition because we just didn't get back? Right? How many times did we get beat off the ball and lose track of our guy? How many times did Ron Holland forget to box out? I counted at least 3 to 4 times that he did not box out and his man got the offensive rebound. There are so many things that we still have to build upon and develop and get better at. And yet, we were still able to shut their water off, keep them under 100 points, and beat them by 15 points. That is a testament to what this team is. That is a testament to what we continue to show up. Not just as guys who have bought into a culture, bought into a team identity, playing together. All those things are wonderful, but you got to have some talent. My college coach, he used to say, look, either you got the horses or you don't. If you ain't got the stallions, if you ain't got the horses, if you don't have the talent, you're not going to win. You're not. And that was literally the Chicago Bulls. They didn't have the talent. First half, Ayo Dosunmu was eating us up. Okay. He ended the game, I think, with 24 points. He was their leading scorer. First half of the game, Matas Buzelis was eating us up. And then we go, oh, okay, if I put Asar Thompson on Matas, I think that pretty much just about cuts their water off. Because Vucevic is no longer the guy he used to be. Stu was slowing him down. And then it just became Ayo Dosunmu and a bunch of random guys. They simply did not have the talent. Speaking of talent, uh, shout out to Duncan Robinson. Continues to be the consummate professional. Continues to knock down shots, be who we need him to be, night in, night out. That's why he remains in the starting lineup, even though he was a -1 in this game, which is kind of telling. Shot 4 of 7 from three, 57%. That seems wonderful. But he was also, once again, an offensive target on defense. They were able to go at him successfully every single time. And then we have Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey was probably my biggest. If I'm honest, I was very disappointed. I don't want to rag on him because I know that he's probably, he seems like the type of athlete um, where he's on himself. You don't need to get on top of him. You don't need to get him to be willing to work on his flaws and get better and play better. He's a guy who's naturally going to do that. But I'll say this. His lack of aggressiveness in this game was not only telling, it was concerning. Um, there was a fast break play where Asar Thompson gets a steal. Jaden Ivey jets out ahead of everyone else. Asar Thompson, great bounce pass in transition. Ivy catches the ball, and it's literally the type of play where Ivy would give us a highlight dunk in the past. But post injury, you would say, like, okay, maybe we just get a solid dunk. You know, he laid the ball up, and it wasn't even like a layup where it was like, hey, I'm just wide open and it's nothing. It was like, because he actually needed to accelerate and dunk it. That would have given him the advantage had he just accelerated and dunked it and exploded to the rim. Instead, he slowed down, risking allowing the defender to catch up to him. And as a result, he makes the layup, but the defender was there, right? So he put himself in a tougher position in order to not put the demand on his body. That's what I'm reading into it. That he didn't want to put the demand on his body to explode at the rim. Let's keep it 100. He only played 19 minutes. 19 minutes and 52 seconds. It wasn't like he was exhausted. It wasn't like that he was in a position where he needed to conserve energy. This was a play. This was a moment when the team needed energy. The team needed energy. The team needed energy. They needed someone to be that energizer, which normally he is. He's normally the guy that when Cade doesn't have the energy, when he's not locked in, when he's not giving that fuel to the team to play at that level of intensity that has become the expectation of this team. Ivy is usually the guy in the past who would be that infusion of gasoline on the fire. He would be that Nas button. People don't remember Fast and the Furious. They press that Nas button, and all of a sudden, boom, and we out here flying, right? That's normally Jaden Ivey. For him to decelerate and take the lay-in, that was eye-opening. We didn't see him in the game after that. I don't know if you all noticed that. We did not see him in the game after that. This is also kudos to JB Bickerstaff in recognizing the temperament of his team, the temperature of his team. Who's got it, who doesn't? Who's ready, who's not? And I do have to commend JB Bickerstaff because he went with several guys. He's like, okay, Ivy doesn't have it. Dennis, let's see what you can do. Dennis gets in. He's kind of a wash when he first gets in, meaning he's not necessarily pushing us forward. We're not losing too much. He's just almost a net zero. And then he goes, okay, we got to find something else. Let me try Marcus Sasser. And he puts in Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser, similarly, is almost like a dud, like he was waiting to find his moment and never found his moment. Now, some of that is also the spacing on the floor. This is where Isaiah Stewart and even Paul Reed have to be more aware. If we got guys like Ron Holland and Asar Thompson on the court, we can't all pack the paint. And Chicago was determined to pack the paint, meaning they were going to hedge all of their defenders. Their defenders were going to lean as far inward towards the paint, towards the lane, close to the basket, to crowd the basket and prevent the Detroit Pistons from having opportunities at the rim. That was their game plan. It was working. So this is when guys like Isaiah Stewart have to recognize I need to shoot threes. Right? This is the basketball IQ. This is where guys have to come in the game and go, "Oh, they're crowding the paint." So I have to be wary of if I cut through to the paint, I got to get the hell out of there. If I post up and I don't get it, I got to get the hell out of there. I got to vacate the paint so that we can maximize our spacing on the court, and that allows lanes to open up. But it also means I have to be aggressive in taking threes. Now, Ron took his fair share of threes. He was 1 of 3 for the night, 5 of 11 from the field. Y'all heard me earlier. I was really frustrated with his lack of boxing out on the defensive end, gave up too many offensive rebounds, and simply looked stuck at times. I remember I've said this before that sometimes he looks like he doesn't know what to do. And he's just almost like his feet are like stuck in mud and he's like, what do do it? Like he's, almost glitching, like, do I go this way? Do I go that way? And he's not reading the game fast enough, right? Ivy looks like this on defense sometimes as well. Um, D-Biz in the house. Well, it was good, man. It was good in the chat. He said, why Dennis look like he be my little bro? He might be my nephew. He got that energy. He might be my nephew. Who knows? Who knows? Um, all to say is that as much as I was frustrated with Ron Holland and doing those little things, um, he still showed up. Plus 12 on the night, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 offensive, and had a block. And I know that he was pressing because remember, Modest Buzelis was his teammate on the G League Ignite team. And so I'm sure he wanted to show up. I'm sure he wanted to affirm why the Pistons drafted him and not Modest Buzelis. Because I know a lot of us are like, damn, that Modest Buzelis looked kind of good. He looked kind of good. He looked kind of good. And I'm gonna be honest, he looked kind of good. He looked kind of good. And and I still like Ron Holland better because Ron Holland has an edge that says Detroit basketball. He plays with a level of fire that is Detroit basketball. I don't know if y'all remember. Some of y'all may or may not remember. Uh, Darko Milicic. He was drafted right behind LeBron James before Carmelo Anthony, D Wade, Chris Bosh, and that whole one of the greatest drafts ever. And a lot of people were like, it was the wrong pick for the Pistons. Now I know that was easy to say after the fact, but the reality was Darko Milicic, man, he came in with as much fanfare as any big time center prospect that we've probably ever seen. He came in with the fanfare of like maybe like a Paul Gasol, but with more defense, right? He was young. He was 7'1" without shoes. He had a 7'7" wingspan, 7'6", 7'7" wingspan. He played defense. He blocked shots, right? Had great touch with both hands around the rim. He could shoot the jump shot. He had an 18-footer, right? He had amazing footwork, light on his feet. Imagine if Darko Milicic was drafted today, he would not only be the number one pick, he would probably become a superstar because the league itself is more conducive to incorporating that international European style of play. We've seen Hakeem Olajuwon, we've seen Arvidas Sabonis, we've seen Vlade Divac, we've seen all these other renditions. We've had Paul Gasol, we've now had Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? We've had Domantas Sabonis, Alperen Şengün. There's all these other prototypes that would have created more space for Darko Milicic's talent to thrive. Instead, he goes to one of the best defensive teams in NBA history that has one of the most devastating defensive front courts in NBA history, and he just got his shit ate up every single day in practice, and they destroyed his confidence. He didn't speak English very well, didn't have any other young guys on the team, didn't have any other international players on the team, was extremely isolated, lonely. All that's to say, even with all of that, the main reason why I would not have drafted Darko Milicic is because he didn't fit the culture. He didn't fit the culture. You bring Chris Bosh in, I think he does just fine. You bring Carmelo Anthony in, D Wade, they do just fine in that draft. Culturally, they were dogs. They were dogs. No, I didn't just call all M. D Biz, man, you wilding today. You wilding today. No, I'm talking about a cultural style of play, a cultural style of play and expectation. This is what I'm pointing to. This is the difference between Modest Buzelis and Ron Holland. Is the cultural style of play. That is why the Pistons should not have drafted Darko Milicic because he didn't fit the cultural style of play, the cultural identity of the Detroit Pistons of that roster. Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Lindsey Hunter, Corliss Williamson. Right? They had a certain culture of dogs, absolute dogs. There were Pits and Rottweilers, Dobermans. They were dogs. And then they brought in Lassie. They brought in a Labrador. I don't want to quite call him a poodle, but he wasn't a dog. He couldn't run with that pack. He couldn't find his footing. He couldn't find his connection. And he didn't have enough years in the league, at least, to figure out how he could fit in. And he just never did. Same thing with Modest Buzelis. I'm not saying Modest Buzelis never figures out a way to fit in. I'm saying that Ron Holland adds more to the cultural identity, which has been our special sauce. That has been our special sauce of why we beat teams night in and night out, even though we don't always execute, even though we don't always have our shooting, even though we don't always have our starting lineups, even though we don't have our superstar, even though we don't have our backup all-star, even though we don't have so many things in place, we still beat teams because of our cultural identity. That's how strong it is. That's why we are as good as we are. This squad depends upon that. And that's what Ron Holland helps to emphasize. When you look at Beef Stew, when you look at Dennis Jenkins, when you look at Javonte Green, right? B-ball Paul, Ron Holland is in that. He plays with that edge, that intensity, that physicality that bleeds into the rest of the guys. Cade Cunningham, right? Cade Cunningham has become a bully, an absolute bully of a player. Bully. He ain't nice to nobody. He just want to get his shoulder into you and just ram you under the rim and then just dunk on you every single time. That's what he's become. It's a part of the culture. Asar Thompson, part of the culture, right? Asar Thompson is almost like trying to think of an example. He's almost like the Tayshaun Prince on that Pistons crew. Kind of a nice guy. Tayshaun Prince, if you knew him out of college, coming out of Tubby Smith, Kentucky, University of Kentucky, he was a nice guy, a captain on his team. He was not known for this level of toughness. I mean, he was tough, but he was rail thin also. 6'9", 7'2" wingspan, versatile forward, really skilled, really fine-tuned his game in college, which is such a beautiful thing to see now the NBA returning to NCAA college sports returning to that guys can stay in college and get paid and fine-tune their game. So when they do come, they can come in like Cedric Coward, Zach Edey, these guys who are ready to go from the jump. But he fine-tuned his game and he was able to come in and contribute. But the culture bled into him, and he became one of our all-time greatest perimeter defenders. He anchored that team. He had to hold down Kobe, remember? But now Asar Thompson is following suit. Asar Thompson's a nice guy, quiet kid. You know, saw him in person, saw his people around him, his folks around him. Everybody was talking and laughing and joking, but him. Quiet kid. You know, I knew some people who used to babysit him and his brother growing up. Or I should say him and his brothers. He's got a older brother. Um, she was like, yeah, great kids. He was real quiet. Quiet, nice kid, right? So this is something to kind of just think about how important our culture is. Now, let me get to my man Dennis Jenkins. NFZ 2004, Asar turns his back on confrontation while Amin tries to ragdoll everybody. You know, sometimes I want Asar Thompson to ragdoll some. So I just, I just kind of miss that. If I'm honest, I just kind of miss it. I really do miss when players would just punch you in the face if you did something. Like I saw Draymond Green as a highlight where he fouls Giannis, hits him in the face, challenging the shot, knocks him to the ground, and just turns his back. He doesn't try to help him up. No, my bad. And people know when you play street ball, pickup ball, it's kind of like the code of ethics. If you don't know, you need to know because somebody might come up and knock your head off. Um, at least that's the way it was when I was growing up. And I played pickup yesterday morning, and dude actually hit me in the face immediately. Oh, my bad, bro. It's nothing. It's good. I know stuff happens. It's incidental, but it's the gesture that counts. It's the gesture that's the respect for the game. It's the gesture that's the respect for you as another person, as another human being, right? So if you hit me in the face and you don't say nothing, you don't try to help me up, you don't even reach out, you just walk off, turn your back to me, act like it was nothing. I'm gonna turn to look at you. I'm gonna say, that's one. If you do it again, I'm coming for your head. But now I'm actually old enough, I'll probably just leave. Probably like, look, it's not worth it because I can't explain to my baby girl why daddy's locked up for beating somebody up on a basketball court over a foul, right? I'm grown. It's stupid. But it doesn't mean I don't understand it. I just don't condone it, but I understand it. And sometimes I miss it when it comes to the NBA. Just saying. Okay, I digress. Sorry for the little rant right there. Dennis Jenkins, my boy. He had the highest plus minus on this team. He was the game changer on this team. Make no mistake about that. Now I'm pointing to the things that JB Bickerstaff did as well, but let's be clear. Dennis Jenkins was the game changer. Dennis Jenkins only had 2 points on the night. It was a plus 20 in the plus minus. Plus 20, plus 20, plus 20. Speaking of plus 20, I got 20 more people in the chat than I do likes. Remember, it's a small thing for you to hit the like button, but it's a big thing for the channel. I appreciate all the love and support. Really do. This is a dope community. If you haven't already, please smash that like button for me. Just tap it one time, not twice, just once. And hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. That way you get notified of all my posts, my short videos, stuff like that. You can respond. I try to respond to most of the chat and especially comments left after videos. Um, and also, hey, it's 2026. Consider becoming a member in 2026. Like real talk. Some of y'all been rocking with me for a long time. It really helps with the production of the channel and its ongoing success. You all are a part of it. Every time that y'all show up. Speaking of showing up, Devereaux87, it's good to see you back in the chat, my man. Um, yeah. Smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe, the bell for notifications, and become a member. All right. Dennis Jenkins, plus 20 on the night, 2.6 rebounds, 15 assists, one steal, one turnover. Hot damn. I remember when they gave the metric or the stat of the Detroit Pistons that had the most assists off the bench in a game. And that was Ish Smith back in the day. Shout out to Ish Smith, came out of Cal University, from the Bay Area, where I'm originally from. Um, he had 14 assists. And I saw the time on the clock, and I was like, well, there's like 3.5, 4 minutes left on the clock. It's more than enough time to break this record. And eventually, he broke the record. 15 assists. But I didn't realize he had 15 assists and only one turnover. That's wild. That's wild. That's wild. He only made one shot the whole game. And it's funny because when I think about the difference between him and Marcus Sasser, I don't ever see Marcus Sasser as a 15 assist guy, especially with only one turnover. And he's not a turnover machine by any means, but he's a score first guy. But the thing is, when the defense in the first half was forcing Dennis Jenkins to be a scorer, Dennis Jenkins struggled. But then in the second half, when things settled down and he was asked to just be a facilitator and a point of attack defender, he thrived. He thrived. And it was beautiful to watch. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. I didn't realize he got to 15 assists until the very end, though. But it makes sense now. He was setting guys up, moving the ball around, swinging the ball. He was making sure that he collapsed the defense. He always was aware of where the weak side open shooter was, which he did countless times to just break down that defense. Chicago wanted to collapse the paint, and I think him and JB Bickerstaff was like, "Look, let's lock into what we need to do. I need you to run this show, but what I really need you to do is collapse the defense intentionally and find that open shooter on the weak side." Karis LeVert knocked one down. Javonte Green knocks some down. Um, and then you had my man Chaz Lanier. Chaz Lanier, Mr. Stay Ready. Here's the thing. There was a quote in the interview after the game where he says, playing in the G League helped. It helped him develop his rhythm, his confidence, but also to prepare himself to step in so that as soon as he stepped on the court, he was in rhythm. He was in rhythm, right? And it's something that, and I'm pointing this out to juxtapose it to Jaden Ivey. And I said, remember, you can go back in the annals of my videos. I kept saying, Jaden Ivey, don't come back until you are 100% healthy. Do not come back until you are 150% ready to come in and contribute. Do not. Do not. It's going to hurt you in terms of negotiating your next contract. It's going to hurt you in terms of solidifying your position on this team. He should not have come back until he was ready to be a starter. I said that I know that there are many ways to success, and JB Bickerstaff has been masterful in his ability to press the right buttons and make great decisions, even if it was different than what I thought should have been done. But this is a moment where it's almost coming full circle and it's proving me right. Jaden Ivey is not ready. He's not. And maybe they had a meeting. Maybe they came to a conclusion and Jaden Ivey was just like, look, man, I don't think I'm going to get more ready not playing. I need to play. I need the minutes. What I need to do to get back on the court. And maybe he did enough and then he got cycled into the rotation slowly but surely, working his way up. But to still be on the bench 2 months after returning from injury is not a good look. And then when you finally get your start, you finally get your start. When the team needs you, Cade Cunningham is out. The MVP, All NBA, All Star, lead guard is out, and you're up. And you put up 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover. It's not to say that that's bad. It's just that when we looked at your body language, when we looked at your energy level, when we looked at your play, it not only left us wanting, it left us realizing that you weren't it. You were not what we were looking for, not what we were needing. And that can stick in people's minds. I don't know if Cade Cunningham will be back by Saturday when we face the Clippers. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if he's not playing on Saturday. We got two West Coast teams, the Clippers, the Phoenix Suns. Both will be intense games. Both will be games that we really have a lot to prove, to show. We will be tested. So there's a good chance that Cade Cunningham comes back for those games. And Jaden Ivey might end up right back on the bench. Instead of utilizing this opportunity to prove to the team, to the coaching staff, that he deserves to start over Duncan Robinson, who, remember, ended the game as a -1. And that's my bad. That's my bad. That wasn't the worst plus minus on the team. The worst plus minus on the team was actually Jaden Ivey at a -6. At a -6. We were 6 points worse when he was on the floor. He's not ready. And at this point, I don't know how we get him ready. It's far too late to send him into the G League, to rest him. If there's any type of ailment, physical ailment, I think we need to sit him. If there's anything going on physically, we need to sit him down. Let him recalibrate. NFZ, I agree. We need to start Ivy at the 2, not so much the 1. He's never been a 1. He's never been a point guard, ever. And I don't think he'll ever be one. And he is better suited at the shooting guard position. And I do think he will look a lot better next to Cade Cunningham than he does merely next to Duncan Robinson. All those things. But what he lacked tonight was the energy. More than anything else. You didn't see that fire. You didn't see that fervor that we have come to know Jaden Ivey for. The thing that sparks us, the things, that energy, that sauce that gets us going. It used to be that bit of cayenne pepper you just drop in there. It used to be that little habanero you just drop in the dish, and all of a sudden, ooh, it got real spicy. That used to be Jaden Ivey. That's no longer Jaden Ivey. We haven't seen that Jaden Ivey this season. And I don't know if he's still mentally in his head from the knee injury, from the leg injury. That's just a lot of lower body injuries. That would get into anybody's head. I'm just concerned that he's hurting his long-term value by trying to push himself when he's not ready. I would have rather had him sit out until 2026. And you can go back. I said this repeatedly. I would rather Jaden Ivey come back in January, now, right now, feeling confident and ready to go. Spend a couple weeks in the G League throughout the month of December and go ball out down there. Go have you a few 30 balls, right? a 40-point explosion. Just beast out on them, right? Get your confidence up, get that rhythm, get that bounce in your game, and then come up to the main team where you are now able to perform at the level that we've known you to be able to perform, and you can show the wrinkles in your game that you've learned. But we need to see you. We need to see Ivy. This ain't Ivy. Or maybe it's a form of Ivy that we are going to have to adjust to for the remainder of this season, potentially. Now, there's still plenty of time. Remember, this is a marathon of a season, right? We're 28 and 9, right? 37 games in. We're just about at the halfway point, 5 games away. Ivy needs to turn a leaf. Ivy needs to turn Ivy needs to turn the page mentally on how he's going to approach the game. Look, I get it if you want to be more methodical, but you have to be aggressive. How many times have we seen Jaden Ivey just fade into the corner in transition? How many times have we seen Jaden Ivey not even look for the ball? How many times? And I get maybe he doesn't want to disrupt what we have going on, but damn it, you're Jaden Ivey. You see Asar Thompson. I'm gonna be Asar Thompson. Isaiah Stewart, Duran. Everyone else is playing their game. Ivy's not playing his game. That's the concern. That's the concern. You're not playing your style of play. You're becoming something different. And what you're becoming is not as good as a lot of these other guys. Now, as Chaz Zanir, plus 16 on the night, came in not a moment too soon. Because he came in and absolutely torched the Chicago Bulls. And we needed it. 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 foul, 8 points. He busted up their defensive game plan, completely disrupted it, completely blew it wide open. He went out there, did his thing. Chicago didn't have an answer. Next, you know, we have a 15-point lead, and they couldn't overcome it. They couldn't overcome it. The next game we have coming up is against the Clippers. We got some business to handle with the Los Angeles Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. We need to get our lick back. We also need to prove to ourselves that we can handle ourselves against the Western Conference. All right, you got me when I came to your house. Now you got to come to my house. You got me the first time. Okay, you're gonna have to see me. You're gonna have to. I know. I know. Okay, you caught me. Okay, you caught me on the chin. Okay, all right, all right. You caught me. You're gonna have to see me tomorrow after school because I got to get my lick back. Got to get my lick back. Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson. They should be looking at this game coming up on Saturday. I want to see us get our lick back. Kawhi Leonard better not have that type of game again. He had an all-worldly game. Barely missed. Asar Thompson, you should take that personally. You should take that absolutely personally. The next couple of days, you know what we used to do? We used to run scout teams. I'm pretty sure everybody runs a scout team. But what I would love to see is for Ron Holland to play like Kawhi Leonard. One, because I think he has a lot of that in his game already. If you watch him with the G League Ignite in high school, has a lot of that mid-range pull-up type of game already in his bag. He just has to refine it. But I would want him to try to go to that and go up against Asar Thompson. I want Asar Thompson to get used to that shoulder, that bump. Yeah, Kingmaker. Kawhi gonna learn today. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. I want Asar to take that game personally. Say, hell no. Nah. You got off one time. You're not getting off again. Now I know we started Asar Thompson uh on James Harden. And that was, you know, that was it had some effectiveness at the point of attack, which is another reason why we need Ivy to step up because we need a different point of attack defender so we can have a point of attack, meaning guarding the opposing team's point guard that is bringing the ball up, and we need a guy who can shut down on the wing. If we have Ivy to play that role, we will now have all the components to be a shutdown defense. Ivy at the point of attack, Asar on the wing, Isaiah Stewart on the interior. Those three in the starting lineup, defending at a high level. I'm saying, I'm saying, I'm saying. I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday. But the schedule doesn't get much easier. Right after that, we got the Phoenix Suns 2 days later. Um, and then we have, let me see. So we got the Clippers on Saturday. Oh, then we got a layoff. We got a strong layoff. Dang, we got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We got 4 days off. And then we've got the Phoenix Suns. Now, here's the thing. Uh, I wouldn't be completely mad at sitting Cade Cunningham against the Clippers. And I know I always say this. Damn it, I always say this. I always say this. Right? It's an opportunity to rest them, opportunity for other guys to step up because we have so much depth. We still need to see what we got in other guys. There's a lot of opportunity out there. And every time I say they should sit Cade, they end up playing him, and he has a big game. And then I sit there with mud on my face, like, I should just, it's the reason why JB Bickerstaff is the head coach and I have a channel. All right. I'm saying. Um, all this to say is Cade Cunningham has an opportunity to get some real rest. To get some real rest. We don't play again until after the Clippers game on Saturday. We don't play again until week 13, which is going to be January 15th, that Thursday against the Phoenix Suns. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. I know Rashad Walker. I know they sat him last night. I totally get that. Totally get that. But I'll say this. Um, I'll say this. Seeing the wrap on Cade's hand tells me it might be a little bit more serious than we realize. And Cade's style of play uh, is very physical, which means that you're going to take as good as you get. Yo, leading Lions, welcome to the faithful. Yo, what's good? I appreciate you becoming a member. Yo, I got a dope channel. Y'all are hella dope. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Y'all are hella dope. I appreciate y'all for real. Have so much fun. This is life giving for me. More than y'all know. Maybe one day I'll have a live where I just tell y'all, give y'all an update about what's going on in my life. But this has been life giving, so I appreciate y'all. I really do. Uh, the wrap on Cade Cunningham's hand to me tells me it's not just a small bruise contusion. Um, likely it is. I might be projecting, but I tend to lean on the side of caution because, like I always say, uh, you never know. You never know. Remember when Grant Hill was playing through, right? Junior Getta. I don't think it's serious. It's just today's NBA. These guys uh, don't play through nothing no more for real. That's why the Cleveland Cavaliers can't go nowhere. They superstars missing playoff games. I hear you. I hear you. Do you recall when Grant Hill was playing through his ankle injuries? Do you remember that? I don't know if you remember that. This was young Grant Hill. This is when Grant Hill was the next. He was the post Jordan. He was the guy who was supposed to. He was LeBron before LeBron. He was him. Nasty. Ready to go. He was ours. And did you listen to his interviews where he talked about how the Pistons mismanaged his ankle injury? Completely derailed his career. Was never the same. Right? So it can also be that story. All I'm saying in regards to Cade Cunningham is I would approach him with caution because his style of play is so physical and we don't need to push it. Now, if he can go, if he's 100, play him. We still got 4 days off after the Clippers game. It's probably what JB's going to do anyhow because he's old school and he knows his players better than I do. And I'm just projecting and giving a opinion from the outside. I'm not in the media. I'm not in the locker room. I don't see these guys every single day. So I don't know. All right. K could be good right now. Could have been good enough to play against the Bulls. Right. And then somebody already tell him how to, say sit down. Okay, cool. Whatever. It is what it is. All I'm saying is that I would be cautious with Cade because of his physical style of play. He takes a lot of punishment as much as he gives. All right. So I think him sitting back also forces him to look at his teammates and recognize just how talented they are. Because I've noticed this when he sits out, he comes back and he plays more as a part of the offense instead of being this kind of heliocentric, ball dominant lead guard. Right. Because he's not a point guard. He's not a facilitator. He's not a guy who's just going to set the table. He's looking to get his, but he's also extremely skilled at playmaking and facilitating and passing to others. But he's not a natural point guard. And so he's very aggressive and he's consistently putting pressure on the defense. I would lean on the side of caution. Now, let me kind of wrap this up because we've been on for a minute. Appreciate everybody who's here. If you haven't already, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Let me just say this. Trae Young apparently just got traded to the Washington Wizards. This shakes up the league in several ways, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with Trae Young for the rest of the season. Will they release him? Because I don't think he's re-signing at all in Washington. As much as I like Bilal Coulibaly and Trey Johnson, as much as I like Bub Carrington and Alex Sarr, great talent, great talent. The reality is, I think Washington is trying to get that high draft pick. I mean, why not? You got AJ DeBonsa and Cam Boozer, and you got Darren Peterson, Caleb Wilson in North Carolina. You got some talent. You got some talent. And if they could add one of those boys, especially one of the bigger dudes, AJ or Cam or Caleb, if they can add one of them to that front court in Washington, hell yeah, that changed the game. But here's the thing. If they bring in Trae Young, they're going to start winning, but not enough to necessarily. I mean, they could get into the play, and who knows? But I don't think they align in terms of their time frames, which means that there's a good chance that Trae Young is rerouted or released or bought out. And I believe, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but if he gets bought out and then he gets signed somewhere this season, he can then get another close to max deal with whatever team picks him up. There are a few teams that I would keep an eye on. A few teams that I would keep an eye on. One team. I'm going to go through this because I think he's going west, if I'm honest. I think he's going west. One team. The Dallas Mavericks. I know Kyrie's there, but with Cooper Flag, it's different timelines. Phoenix. Remember how good Devin Booker looked playing next to Chris Paul? They got more than enough defenders there. And as much as I like Colin Gillespie, I don't know if I want to go into the playoffs trying to win a championship with Colin Gillespie as my starting point guard. especially not if you're thinking about taking down OKC or Denver or San Antonio or the Lakers or Minnesota or Houston, right? Like, I don't know if you want Colin Gillespie. I don't know if you want to put the franchise on his shoulders. But Trey Young in Phoenix could be big time. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they've been itching for a starting point guard. Absolutely. Man, I kind of lightweight had them as a dark horse to go after Dennis Jenkins in the offseason. But let's just say Trey Young, the Los Angeles Lakers. Look, I love Austin Reeves. He's not Trey Young. Trey Young would make the game easy for Luca, LeBron, Ayton, and he's a star. In the East, yo, Ray Floyd, you took it right, man. See, Ray Floyd, look, some of my chat, y'all be too locked in with me. Y'all be too locked in with me. The Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, 100% could use a Trey Young. That offense, all of a sudden, would jump levels. Levels. Finally, you could take the ball out of Banchero and Wagner's hands, and you could put it in the hands of someone who will just run the show, set guys up, make it easy. And I could see Jalen Suggs being great next to him. Bring Desmond Bane off the bench as a sixth man. Another team could really use him. The Miami Heat. The Miami Heat could 100% use a Trey Young. Already one of the fastest paced teams in the NBA. Having a Trey Young would supercharge that offense. Bring shooting. And Eric Spoelstra would love him outside of not playing defense. But if they can get Tyler Hero to play D, I think they can get Trey Young to buy it. All this to say is he's going to change the league. He is 100% a star in this league. Not just a good player. Steph's machine room. Yo, I can see them getting rid of Tyler Hero because I think Norman Powell is as good and cheaper. All this to say is wherever Trey Young ends up, whether it's this season, on the back end of this season, or traded in the offseason, because like I said, I don't think he sticks in Washington. I really doubt that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But right now, the Washington Wizards are 10-26, heading in the absolute opposite direction. And Trey Young is in his prime. Trey Young right now is 27 years old. It's now or never. It's win or bust. He's got about a 5 to 6 year window. I think his game was going to age well, but he's got about a 5 or 6 year. And if he can't win a championship in the next 3, we're going to start looking at him differently because he's too good. He's too good to not be competing for championships. That's the reality. So, with all that said, that is an incredible move. I think it also, to some extent, impacts Jaden Ivey because it speaks to the temperament of the NBA. Looking what the Atlanta Hawks got back for him, CJ McCollum, Corey Kispert. Look, unless there's like 3 or 4 first round draft picks involved, that is not a haul. That is not a haul for an all-star, perennial all-star all NBA level talent. Telling you, this second apron is really impacting players' value and not for the better of the players or the game. It may seem like it helps your team, it really doesn't. The salary cap doesn't help your team. Doesn't allow you to keep players. It doesn't allow you to really build upon drafting well. It really hurts you in the long run. The reality is, without a salary cap, Atlanta Hawks should be able to build on top of Trey Young, Nikhil Alexander Walker, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Reese Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, Kristaps Porzingis, and go out and get those missing pieces instead of having to trade Trey Young to then bring in some more pieces and figure it out again. Because I guarantee you, in a few years, they're going to be looking and say, hey, Jalen Johnson needs help. We need somebody who can run the show. And I'm just going to look at him and give him that face, give him that emoji. You just had him. But I digress. Detroit Pistons are at 29 wins, 9 losses. Sorry, 28 wins, 9 losses. Having a hell of a year. Our culture, our team identity has been a godsend. It's been so powerful for this team. I'm excited for where it's going to take them, continue to take them. And this is an exciting year. I think we are in a championship window. I think we are. Um, we're going to keep getting better. We got another 4 months to go before the playoffs. I'm excited to see where this continues to go. I like to leave y'all with some at the end. Um, Usually it's tied into something that we talked about. But you know what? I'll say this. You never know when it's your time in life. Sometimes it's your time in life for something that you didn't really expect, uh, anticipate. Um, and so it becomes incumbent upon you to really approach your life as an ongoing preparation for what you see and for what you don't see. And sometimes, as I said before, conflict or the things that you struggle with are actually the very things that are preparing you for life. You learn more through the struggle than you do through the successes. And so sometimes your struggles are preparing you for something that you see or sometimes don't see. And there's an opportunity to grow through it, to embrace it, so that when your time comes for what's coming into your life, you're prepared for it. So today, as always, live your life to the fullest. Real talk. You only get one life. There's none other greater than yours. All the rest are already taken. Laugh hard as hell because that's how you get through life. And keep your joy, keep your spark, and love deeply. The people around you, don't take them for granted. Hug them, kiss them. You got kids, you got loved ones. Let them know you love them. And I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.